This is my first time actually here, and I have a confession to make. And it was, I think I spoke with Vatsal 2 days ago, and we were just talking about, he said, why don't you come over? I said, okay. And then I said, okay, fine, what's the topic? And he said, influencer marketing. Okay, I said, okay. And I was not sure what influencer marketing is, because, while we do it all the time, but as a term, what does it technically mean? So what did I do? I picked up Google and Googled it. And I Googled it and I figured out, oh, this is what we do all the time. So and that's why I put together some of the things that we do at Xerox. And just first in terms of my thinking process, I've got a few slides and 5-6 slides. Hopefully, will not take more than 10 minutes, as Vatsal told me. So we really started with what the classical marketing process is. You essentially just look at there's a customer, there's a marketer. You try to understand the customer needs. You try to you try to design your offering. You try to say, how do I position it vis-a-vis in the market, in customer's mind, and you put the positioning out, and you put together a GTM. And then you communicate. You communicate your offerings, your benefits, your features to the customer, and hope actually push the sales to complete the fulfillment. And essentially, at least all the marketers would like to believe that sales job is actually fulfillment, and our purpose is to make selling, obviate the need for selling. But it's a simplistic process, but then obviously it starts getting complicated, because from the customer side, there are a lot of people talking to him. Then he's also in turn talking to a lot of people, the people who he trusts, whose opinion he values. It could be a peer group, other stakeholders, media reviews, analyst reviews, his friends and family circle, the icons, role models we talked about, the brand ambassadors, or the recommendations coming in from either Dhoni or Chetan Bhagat, whomsoever it could be. And suddenly what we see is a whole lot of potential information, and you're not really controlling that as well as you would like to. And your message was simple, it was there, you had full control, but here, a lot of things is completely out of control. Probably in the earlier time it was a little easier, because the customer usually had to make a decision in a finite time. He could only talk to a few people. So he relied on the word of mouth, what he could easily get, etc. But now, as I discovered 2 days ago, or we knew all this time along, there's Google. And there's this World Wide Web. And it becomes so much easier, so much information available easily. So if you don't control it, it's just not going to be there. I mean, you're just not doing your job effectively. So, I read somewhere, I think McKinsey had done a study which said that, the paid marketing dollars, if they give you X amount of sales, the word of mouth gives you 2X amount of sales. But I think that word of mouth, with the advent of digital, social, this World Wide Web, is actually changing the word of mouth, what I want to call wow, which is the word of the World Wide Web, because this information is so powerful, so easily accessible, and you've got to control it. And control it through the, when you talk to the all the influencers, they in turn share those views. They put it on their Facebook, they share it. They have their peer networks, they have their professional networks, they have their WhatsApp groups. Everybody just, before you buy anything, you look at what are the reviews customers have given it. So they are faceless, they are, sometimes very well respected, sometimes they are known, but you've got to control that process. So, I think it is obviously, as Shankar also said earlier, it's something that we have to control, we have to influence a lot. So, what I'll do is I'll give a few examples where where Xerox has been doing it, hopefully, quite successfully in some cases. In some cases, we still have, some more work to do. So before that, a little context about Xerox. I think you do know about Xerox, as a printing, or actually, a lot of people say a photocopying pioneer. But we do a lot more. We do, of course, all the devices, printing devices, document management. but we also do a lot of business process outsourcing. We handle that. We actually, more than 55% of our revenues comes from services, which is including management services and the BPO. And that is the fastest growing part. What we are really looking at is taking it to about 75% in the next two to 3 years. We have a revenue of about 20 billion. We have always been named as the most, one of the most respected brands. We operate in about 180 countries, but we always had this issue of, as a photocopying company. A little bit about Xerox in India. We have 3 arms here. We have Xerox India, which is the traditional business of Xerox. This is not photocopying, by the way, because we don't do photocopiers at all. We do printers, management services, document management, supply chain, communication, marketing services. That's the commercial arm which is there. But what we also have is Xerox Services, which is the BPO back office actually in India, serving customers in Europe and the US, taking care of a whole lot of HR outsourcing, transportation, parking solutions, healthcare, insurance, a lot of that. What we also have, and it's actually applied for India per se, is the only Xerox center of Xerox, which is outside the North Americas and Europe, is in India. Is focused on developing markets, including markets like India. And they are really looking at innovating across solutions for both document management as well as services. So we have about 11,000 people in India across these 3 businesses. But I think the core thing is our business is B2B. All these things that you're talking about, they are all B2B businesses. So our customer is typically the CIOs, CXOs, procurement managers, IT managers. These are the guys who procure our services. And their decision is a techno-commercial decision. Always, it's just, you're looking at technology, looking at your security, you're looking at a whole lot of things. Whenever, even if you're employing a, managed print services. So there's a whole lot of influencers, and what we figured out is, there are typically these 3, 4, 5, and it would depend on each of the areas of businesses that we do this very slightly. But it's the analyst, it's the peers, it's the, in case of also the SME, sometimes the channel is very important. The media reviews and other customers. What do the other customers who are using our services or our products, what do they have to say about it? We of course have to prioritize this, and what we figured out was, that for 3 of our different businesses, there are 3 different set of influencers, which are probably the top influencers. We'll just pick up a few examples of what we are doing with some of these. And, since it's a techno-commercial decision, one of the things which I have faced when I was on the other side, I've been with some of the telcos, and whenever we were faced with by making purchase decisions for, say, a business intelligence system, analytics system, or for example, multi-channel campaign management systems or a CRM system, you're always looking at, okay, fine, there's, looking at a lot of vendors, and frankly speaking, left me confused. I did not have the technical knowledge to really evaluate it. We leaned on our IT guys, but at the end of it, what we really went on was 2 things. We looked at the other customers who were using it. The second thing we looked at was what, for example, the Gartner Magic Quadrant had to say about it, because they are doing that day in and day out, putting the Magic Quadrant out and saying, okay, this is good, this is bad, this has got a future. So business analyst was one of the critical things that we identified. And one of the things that when I came, we of course, a lot of this engagement has been happening at the global level. So we engage with the business analysts very, very, very deeply with them. We share things actually at the stage where they're sometimes not even being invented, and they're just ideas in our labs. We take them to our labs, we tell them about our vision, what we're planning to do, and it's actually a 2-way process. We tell them what we're thinking, they tell us what's happening around, and so it's a good learning back for us as well. But I think what we make sure in the process is they know about our products and offerings as much as we do. Probably, in some cases, what we discovered in India, first time when we started having this interaction, we saw this value, we started doing it in India. And we figured out that sometimes they knew a lot more about what Xerox is doing or planning to do than what we did, because only so much came across to India from the global headquarters. And that's when we decided that we must engage more, because there's so much information that's available, and if we are also able to feed in what we are doing locally, then the local market would help us in local market as well. So some of the outcomes, I think this whole process of engaging with them, one of the things that if you go back and look at all the outcomes which have, and here we have got IDC, we got Kosaka, we got Gartner, we got Infotrends, and we got Forrester. I just put down some of the numbers. And this is consistent. If you go back last 3-4 years, quarter by quarter, 13, 14, 16 quarters, Xerox invariably comes out at the top right quadrant, which is a leader quadrant, well ahead of others. And it's not only because we make great products. Of course we do that. But I think what we also make sure is that the analysts know that we make great products. I think that becomes very, very important. And I think that is really helping us, and I'm not putting the market share figures in, we cannot share at the local level, but globally we are the #1 equipment brand, we are the leaders in MPS as well. Again, from the market share perspective and from the analyst perspective, I think all the results are there. The other thing that we do, I think this is much more about the local piece, the production business that we do. The customer stories, this you have to look at. This is a slightly different segment which looks at, of course, the large corporates also look at it. But especially when we go to a production business, those guys are typically, not a very large organization. They're putting up an investment of 1 crore, 2 crores, maybe a few lakhs, 10, 15 lakhs into putting a print shop, and where there's, doing the print jobs for a whole lot of their customers. He wants to make sure, because it's hard-earned money. This is the single owner manager kind of coming in with a few of his staff. He wants to make sure that his machine, when it comes in, it will print good quality stuff, will work without issues, and he will get support when he needs it. He wants to know that how is it working at other places. So what we do is we always do a lot of customer studies here. These customer studies, we do it, we work with the customer, put those studies out, his experience, how has gained, how his business has developed, and that we put out on our various other social medias and traditional media as well, because of focused print media, and our what we call our partner net portal, because then our partners can share those success stories and win in the market. The other piece was the channel. I think channel is, our go-to-market is channel. About 95% of our business is really, GTM is partner-led. We do very little direct business. So, these partners are many times multi-brand. They have competing products. If they don't have competing products, they are continuously being pushed by different guys. So it's very critical to keep, meet all the information he needs. So this is a platform that we've got, Partner Portal, essentially to make selling easier for him. Any information he wants. He's in a face-off situation, he's trying to sell this, a competitive product out there, which is being pitched by his competition at a customer space. All he has to do is go to the partner, log on to Smart Center, and all it comes out that here it is. Commercials, of course, he has to put, because depending on what he's putting in. But feature by feature comparison of any model which is available actually across the world is available to him by any manufacturer, is available to him right there and then. There are tools available to him. He can prepare a bit, just log on to the center, he can prepare a bit, he can take support if he wants bit support, those things are available. His plans, everything is available. And of course, the plan is to now take it forward and get it on mobile. It's not yet very mobile friendly, and that's one issue that we have. But I think that is obviously work in progress, and that's something that will take him. But again, the outcome is that we have had very loyal partners, and the share of, many of them, as we said, are multi-brand, but our share of business in our category, of course, they deal with other IT products as well, is close to 80%. So that I think has been a very, very positive thing for us. And again, the digital world, so I think we have to leverage it across all the media. We do share it across, use PR for that. Again, trade publications, focus publications, Partner Portal, because so that learnings from one place, including our analyst reviews that come in, they are all available there, so our partners can refer to it and share it with their customers. In the CXO, other industry forums, whether it's an industry meet, whether it's other CXO forums we're participating in, we always share that. And sharing it through our own Facebook page. We are still to kind of get onto Twitter and other things, because it's also a question of how, if you get on there, you've also got to manage it. So we want to go, in that sense, a little slowly. We know we need to get there, but we want to make sure that we walk before we can run. And that's it. So I think purely from a learning perspective, I think we need to identify and prioritize these influences. And these influences would, in most cases, be different for different parts of your business, not just for an industry. But as we figured out that, when we're talking about MPS, the analysts are probably the most important factor. When it comes to, selling to SME, it looks at probably analyst reviews, not that much probably, but the channel is very, very critical. When you're talking about selling it to the production equipment guys, then it is the customer stories, because it's a small community, it's probably 1,000 printers, commercial printers, which you're really talking to. They are they get influenced much more by the customer, their peer stories and what they're doing and what their experience has been, than anything else. I think that's about it. Thank you.